everyone. Today I want to share some insights and personal thoughts on what's happening in our world right now. There's so much to unpack, from global events to the strategies of powerful individuals and groups. Let's dive right in. We've seen a lot of chatter recently about major changes that seem to be shaping the future. Whether it's about technological advancements, shifting alliances between influential figures, or even strange developments in health and science, it's hard not to notice patterns emerging. Take, for instance, the recent conversations surrounding figures like Elias Tusk, Marco Zipper, and Peter Thistle. These are individuals whose decisions and actions carry immense weight globally. Elias Tusk's push for interplanetary exploration and innovative technology, Marco Zipper's social media empire and its influence over billions, and Peter Thistle's quiet but impactful moves in the tech and finance industries. All of these demonstrate how concentrated power can drive significant changes. What's fascinating about this is the interconnectedness of their actions. For example, when a tech mogul makes advancements in artificial intelligence, it doesn't just affect the tech sector. It ripples into employment, ethics, and even geopolitics. Similarly, when social media giants influence global communication, it shifts cultural norms, political discourse, and even personal freedoms. These dynamics show us that the world is becoming increasingly complex, and understanding these patterns is key to staying ahead. But let's also consider the ethical implications. With great power comes great responsibility. How often do we see this responsibility exercised? Are these figures using their influence to build a better, more equitable world, or are they consolidating their power at the expense of others? These are the questions we must ask as global citizens to ensure that progress benefits everyone, not just the elite few. This brings me to an essential point. We need to stay informed and aware of how these developments might affect us. Not to fear them, but to understand them. It's only by understanding that we can navigate the future with confidence. Knowledge equips us to adapt and even thrive in changing times. Now let's discuss something intriguing: predictive programming. Have you ever noticed how certain movies, books, or even TV series seem to foreshadow real-world events? This isn't just a coincidence. Many theorists believe it's a deliberate technique used by powerful groups to acclimate society to potential future scenarios. Let me give you an example. Have you ever watched a film that introduced the concept of a global health crisis, only to see something eerily similar unfold years later? This phenomenon raises the question: are these coincidences, or is there a strategy at play? Predictive programming, as some call it, suggests that governments and private groups use cultural products to subtly prepare the public for future events. These narratives can make us more accepting of certain policies, events, or even crises. Consider the power of storytelling. In the Bible, stories often served as lessons guiding people toward certain behaviors or beliefs. Proverbs 4:23, for instance, teaches us to guard our hearts, as everything we do flows from it. This is a reminder that the ideas we internalize shape our responses and our worldviews. Now, when we think about predictive programming, the intent might not always be sinister. Sometimes it's about addressing fears or offering solutions. However, it's also worth noting how such programming can influence mass behavior. If an idea is introduced gradually, people are less likely to resist it when it becomes reality. Think of it as a slow drip rather than a sudden flood. Over time, the public becomes desensitized and even accepting of things that once seemed shocking or implausible. The potential impact of this is enormous. Imagine if governments or organizations used predictive programming not just to prepare us for change, but to shape our perceptions in a way that limits critical thinking. This is why it's so important to remain vigilant and question the narratives we consume, whether they come from entertainment, media, or even educational institutions. Another major topic that's been on my mind is the growing concerns about food and energy scarcity. Recently, there's been news about avian flu affecting livestock in the US, and it's leading to discussions about the potential for food shortages. But let's take a step back and think about the bigger picture. Global supply chains are incredibly efficient but also incredibly fragile. One small disruption, a natural disaster, a pandemic, or a geopolitical conflict, can send shockwaves through entire systems. For instance, if agricultural production in one region is affected, it can lead to price increases and shortages worldwide. This is where the concept of resilience comes into play. Resilience isn't just about preparing for emergencies. It's about building systems that can adapt and recover quickly. Supporting local farmers, reducing food waste, and investing in renewable energy are just some ways we can contribute to resilience. On a personal level, even learning basic skills like gardening or food preservation can make a difference. But it's not just about food. Energy scarcity is another looming challenge. As the world transitions to renewable energy sources, we're seeing growing pains. The infrastructure isn't always ready to meet demand, and geopolitical tensions can exacerbate these challenges. For instance, when one country controls a significant portion of the world's energy resources, it creates vulnerabilities for others. Diversifying energy sources and investing in sustainable solutions isn't just smart, it's necessary for global stability. The Bible also emphasizes the importance of preparation. Proverbs 6:6-8 talks about the ant, which stores its provisions in summer and gathers its food at harvest. This wisdom isn't just about survival, it's about foresight and stewardship. In modern terms, it reminds us to think ahead and make decisions today that will benefit us tomorrow. Let's talk about something else that's been gaining momentum: the transition from physical to digital. This includes everything from the push for digital currencies to the move towards a cashless society. While these advancements can offer convenience, they also raise critical questions about privacy and control. Imagine a world where every financial transaction is monitored. On the surface, it might seem like a good way to prevent fraud or ensure accountability. But what happens when that level of control is used to restrict freedoms? What if access to your own money could be blocked because you didn't comply with certain rules? These are scenarios worth thinking about. In Revelation 13:16-17, we read about a system where no one can buy or sell unless they have a specific mark. While interpretations of this passage vary, it's a thought-provoking parallel to discussions about economic control. How much of our freedom are we willing to trade for convenience? This isn't to say we should fear innovation. Far from it. Innovation has brought countless benefits to society. However, we must remain vigilant about how these technologies are implemented and who controls them. Transparency, accountability, and ethical considerations must guide these developments. Switching gears a bit, let's talk about education, a topic close to my heart. In many parts of the world, including here, there seems to be a disconnect between economic growth and the quality of education. It's troubling that countries with significant economic power still lag behind in providing access to quality education. Education isn't just about earning degrees or securing jobs. It's about empowering individuals to think critically, question narratives, and seek truth. Unfortunately, we live in a time when misinformation is rampant. Without a strong foundation in critical thinking, it's easy to be misled. The Bible values wisdom and understanding. Proverbs 4:7 says, "Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore get wisdom, and with all thy getting get understanding." This timeless advice reminds us of the enduring value of learning. In a world full of distractions, prioritizing education, whether formal or self-directed, is an act of resistance against ignorance. But education isn't just a societal issue, it's a personal one. How often do we take time to learn something new? To read a book, take a course, or even engage in meaningful conversations? Growth doesn't stop when we leave school. It's a lifelong journey, and it requires effort and intention. So where does this leave us? It's clear that we're living in a time of rapid change where the decisions we make as individuals and communities matter more than ever. Staying informed is the first step, but action is equally important. For example, if you're concerned about the environment, think about small changes you can make in your daily life. This could be as simple as reducing waste, conserving energy, or supporting sustainable businesses. If you're worried about education, look for ways to support initiatives that promote learning, whether that's volunteering, donating, or simply encouraging a culture of curiosity in your community. And if you're curious about the broader trends shaping our world, don't hesitate to dig deeper and question the narratives presented to you. Remember, the power of change often starts with awareness. It's only when we understand the challenges we face that we can begin to address them effectively. One question that has been on my mind recently is this: why would a leader delegate a significant responsibility to someone else, especially when that task carries global importance? There are times when delegation isn't just about sharing tasks, but about showcasing trust, strategy, and the readiness to act through others. This idea of sending someone else to resolve an issue speaks volumes about both the leader and the person being sent. Leadership often requires making choices that extend beyond personal abilities. Sometimes the best way to solve a problem is to empower someone else to act on your behalf. This is not a sign of weakness, but a recognition of strengths, both your own and the individual you trust. Consider the story of Moses in the Bible. In Exodus 18, Moses' father-in-law advises him to delegate his responsibilities so he wouldn't burn out. This example highlights how even great leaders benefit from sharing their workload to focus on the bigger picture. Delegation, when done effectively, also reflects humility and strategic thinking. A leader must recognize their limitations and understand that no single person can shoulder every burden. By involving others, they amplify their capacity to address challenges. In today's interconnected world, this principle holds true more than ever. Leaders face multifaceted issues that require collaboration, specialized knowledge, and diverse perspectives. When a leader chooses the right person for a task, it's not just about delegation, it's about trust, vision, and empowering others to rise to the occasion. Now let's talk specifics. Recently, the topic of Greenstone has been in the spotlight. Why would a nation, a global superpower no less, show interest in Greenstone? At first glance, it might seem absurd to some, but when you peel back the layers, there are strategic reasons for this interest. Greenstone isn't just ice and snow, it's a treasure trove of natural resources. From rare earth minerals to other vital resources, Greenstone holds immense potential. In a world where energy is the cornerstone of technological advancement, having access to these resources could redefine global power dynamics. Imagine a future where control over these resources means dominance in energy, innovation, and even artificial intelligence. It's not just about today. It's about building a future where energy independence and technological superiority are key. But there's more to Greenstone than its natural riches. Geographically, it occupies a strategic position. As polar ice melts, new shipping routes are opening, transforming this once remote region into a global crossroads. Whoever controls Greenstone could potentially dominate these emerging trade routes, making it a geopolitical game-changer. However, it's important to address the environmental implications of this interest. The delicate ecosystems of the polar regions are under threat, and any exploitation of resources must be balanced with efforts to protect these environments. The pursuit of progress should not come at the cost of irreversible ecological damage. This calls for ethical leadership and a commitment to sustainability, values that should guide every decision we make regarding such regions. There's something else worth exploring here: predictive strategy. Have you ever noticed how certain global actions seem to align with narratives we've seen before? Sometimes it feels as though the world is following a script, where decisions and events mirror what has been hinted at in cultural or strategic contexts. Predictive strategy is about reading patterns and anticipating outcomes. It's used in fields ranging from economics to military planning, but it's also something we encounter in our daily lives through media and culture. For instance, many have pointed to the role of predictive programming in shaping public perceptions. Whether it's movies, books, or even political rhetoric, these elements often prepare us for scenarios that might otherwise seem shocking. When you see a narrative repeated enough, it normalizes what might once have been unthinkable. Consider the broader implications of predictive programming. While it can be a tool for preparedness, it can also shape public opinion in subtle ways. When certain ideas are introduced repeatedly, they can influence how we perceive future events. For example, stories about resource scarcity and energy crises might not just reflect potential realities, but also condition us to accept specific responses to these issues. Understanding this dynamic is essential for staying critical and informed. In this case, we have to ask, is the focus on Greenstone part of a larger strategy? Is this about preparing for an energy crisis, an environmental shift, or even broader technological transformations? Whatever the case, staying aware of these trends helps us better understand the world around us. Predictive strategy reminds us to look beyond the surface and question the motives behind certain narratives. Energy is the foundation of everything, from powering our homes to driving innovation. But here's the thing: energy isn't infinite. And as technology advances, the demand for energy grows exponentially. Did you know that a single AI query can use up to 10 times the energy of a traditional web search? This is just one example of how our technological future hinges on energy availability. This is where Greenstone comes back into the picture. Its untapped resources could provide the energy needed to power the next wave of innovation. And it's not just about fossil fuels or traditional energy sources. We're talking about the rare earth minerals needed for renewable energy technologies, advanced batteries, and even the infrastructure for artificial intelligence systems. But there's a deeper issue here. As nations race to secure these resources, what happens to global stability? Are we heading toward a future defined by cooperation, or will competition for these assets spark conflicts? It's a question we must all consider as we think about what kind of world we want to build. The pursuit of energy also raises ethical questions. How do we balance the need for progress with our responsibility to protect the planet? In Genesis 2:15, humanity is tasked with working and caring for the earth. This mandate reminds us that stewardship isn't just about using resources wisely, but also ensuring that our actions benefit future generations. As we seek solutions to energy challenges, we must prioritize sustainability and equity. This brings me back to the original question. Why would a leader send someone else to tackle such a significant issue? In my view, this isn't just about delegation. It's a calculated move that demonstrates trust, strategy, and a willingness to involve others in shaping the future. Think about it. By sending someone else, the leader signals confidence in their team. It's not about avoiding responsibility. It's about empowering others to act decisively. This approach also allows the leader to focus on broader goals while ensuring that key tasks are addressed by trusted individuals. Delegation is also a way to foster growth and resilience within a team. When leaders entrust others with significant responsibilities, they create opportunities for those individuals to develop their skills and gain experience. This not only benefits the team but also strengthens the organization as a whole. A leader who delegates effectively is one who builds a legacy of empowerment and collaboration. Ultimately, this isn't just about Greenstone or energy or even leadership. It's about how we, as a global community, navigate a rapidly changing world. From technological advancements to geopolitical shifts, the choices we make today will shape the future for generations to come. So what can we do? First, we need to stay informed. Understanding the bigger picture allows us to engage meaningfully with the world around us. Second, we must be willing to ask tough questions. Why are certain decisions being made? What are the potential consequences? And how can we ensure that these decisions benefit not just a select few but society as a whole? Finally, we need to take action. Whether it's through advocacy, education, or simply staying engaged, each of us has a role to play in shaping the future. Remember, even small actions can have a big impact when they're part of a collective effort. As I wrap up, I want to leave you with this. The future is not something that happens to us, it's something we create together. By staying engaged, informed, and proactive, we can shape a world that aligns with our values and aspirations. Thank you for joining me today. If you found this discussion valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Let's keep this conversation going in the comments below. What are your thoughts on these topics? I'd love to hear from you.